With Frank Herbert's Dune currently getting the updated film adaptation treatment, the series is rapidly finding new readers each and every day. I, for one, have been meaning to dive into the books for some time now, and with the newest film set to release this November, I thought now was the perfect time. This is a book that has helped to pave the way for the sci-fi genre in general and its multifaceted range of tropes, characters, technology, and world building. And after finally picking this one up and absolutely tearing through it, I would like to add my brief thoughts on the subject. Mainly, does this book stand up to all the hype surrounding it, or has it aged out of its prime? Well, let's dive into the world of Arrakis together and take a look for ourselves. Dune is a fantastic story of family strife and revenge, filled with cunning espionage and betrayals, intricate world building of not just physical landscapes, but thematically rich histories and cultures, and a single character journey that absolutely will stand the test of time. Now, while the story may seem dull at times, and that in large part may be due to Herbert's stylistic delivery, there are always further implications to catch of the actions taking place within the scene that not only can, but do impact the story at some point later on. The attentive reader can always find a plethora of subtle ploys and ever-present trickery, but Herbert is also sure to throw in some lines that make these devious and shocking revelations beneath the surface obvious to anyone reading. That said, it is in my humble opinion that Herbert's writing style is the weakest attribute of this novel. I can't say if it improves within the series, but as for this first entry, I found the simple, blunt, matter-of-factly writing style to be quite numb. However, it did remind me of Fonda Lee's writing within the Greenbone saga, so if you were a huge fan of that series and its prose, then I don't see you taking issue with this novel in that regard. However, Herbert is also privy to switching points of view at the flip of a switch, so unless you're paying close attention, it is possible to get mixed up while reading. I personally did not have this issue, but I know others have, so I wanted to address it here. But all that said, I found the story structure and pacing both easy to follow and be engaged with. It's thematically rich and true to the genre, making it clear why this one was such a huge trendsetter. But close behind the writing, I found the character component to be the least compelling aspect of this book. Paul Atreides is a fantastic protagonist, but the story does feel a bit weighed down at times by his surrounding group of allies. For one, this is equally Jessica's story, Paul's mother, so unless you find her relatable or easy to sympathize with, you might not find as much enjoyment in this book as others do. Secondly, on the whole, I do think they improved throughout the book, but I also believe their character arcs, if they have any, could have been more emotional and or impactful. That said, aside from the heroes within this book, the villains are true standouts and left me wanting more. They had true agency within the story and continually put our heroes in a tough spot, making the climax that much more powerful. And as for the setting, the world of Arrakis is as alluring to the reader as it is to every character within this book. The more lore that is established, the more crumbs of information that Herbert decides to share, the more enticing this world becomes and the more you want to learn. And while I think we get a great amount of world building within this book, it's also clear that Herbert is saving some real special nuggets for later installments. At the end of the day, it's clear to me why this book became a classic and continues to provide inspiration for new stories, both within the sci-fi genre and beyond. As for my score, I'm a bit torn between giving this one an 8 or an 8.5. I can very easily appreciate this story and what it's done for the genre, but as a book itself in this day and age, it does feel a bit outdated, both in its substance and its writing. But the more I sit on it, the more I want to dive back into this world and see how the rest of this story unfolds. And I think that's a powerful testament to the success that this book has had and continues to have. And so I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. I think there are other 8.5s that I've given that come with bigger payoffs, more compelling and dynamic characters, and more exciting moments. But when you consider the investment of time and energy required, Dune is a fairly tight book with little to no fat left to trim off, which is further evidence of Herbert's genius. But that's it from me. I want to hear what you guys think of this book down in the comments below. Is it worth continuing on with this story, or do you think that the first book will suffice for most readers? And if you're a big fan of Dune, what are some other books you'd recommend, both within sci-fi and outside of the genre? If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and leave a like to let the YouTube algorithm know, and share this video with a friend who needs convincing on reading this literary treasure. That's the best way to help out this channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in to this 2-minute book review. I will see you all next time.